Jai Jai Shri Radha Shyam and welcome. Episode number 4 on NABADWIP, the birthplace of Sri Gouranga Mahaprabhu. In this episode, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the 3 books. This paper is available on Patreon. Patreon Paramananda, check the link below. You can download it for free. Sri Gurudeva ki jai. Namaste Gurudevaya Sarvasiddhi Pradayine Sarvamagala Rupaya Sarvananda Vidyajine. In honor to the truth and for the truth only. Bhaktivinoda Thakur and the 3 books by Jagadananda Das. This is an extract from the original text titled Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bipin Bihari Goswami. Did Bhaktivinoda Thakur fabricate evidence to promote the Mayapur birth site? I cannot answer the question where the historical and geographical evidence is concerned. However, I am seriously disturbed by the evidence that Bhaktivinoda Thakur manufactured literary evidence to support the validity of Chaitanya as avatar and the 9 islands theory of NABADWIP, which in turn is meant to promote the Mayapur birthplace. In this paragraph, the writer is saying that he don't want to go into the geographical and historical facts on NABADWIP, but in the 3 previous videos of this series we have seen them, and this is just the top of the iceberg on all the pramanas, evidence regarding the birthplace of Sri Gouranga Mahaprabhu. That is not Miyanpur, that Muslim land nowadays called Mayapur, but is NABADWIP, the traditional NABADWIP, the center of the schools, the education. In the 1890s, the Thakur wrote a Bengali verse work, NABADWIP Dhamma Mahatmya, which he published under his own name. This book is a pretty typical Sthala Mahatmya style of text. Most Sthala Puranas introduce many Puranic or Vedic personalities and ascribe to them activities and words that glorify the place in question. The events described in NABADWIP Dhamma Mahatmya are quite radical. Madhva and Ramanuja are not the only names that are dropped in this book. There are also demigods, Vedic riches, and other historical figures like Jayadeva, all of whom spend time in Mahaprabhu's Dham and have premonitions of his future appearance there. Are we understanding that this book, NABADWIP Dhamma Mahatmya, is a work by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Kedarnath Datta, that has not a historical record? So, in order to create this beautiful poetry on the birthplace of Gouranga Mahaprabhu, then he used the different names as just seeing here, like Madhva, Ramanuja, demigods, Jayadeva, Vedic riches, etc., etc., etc. So, of course, this is just poetry. We cannot take this as a pramana on history or nothing like that. Had NABADWIP Dhamma Mahatmya been written in Puranic Sanskrit 200 or 300 years earlier, it may have been insinuated into the Skanda Purana or Padma Purana and achieved canonical status. But as it is, the Thakur decided to publish it in Bengali and in his own name. This could only mean that he was either sufficiently confident of his own position as a realized Vaishnava, who could claim to have mystic visions of this sort and be believed, or that he never intended for it to be taken literally as history, but as a fanciful work in glorification of Mahaprabhu. The Gaudiya Math and others who believe in the divine status of Bhaktivinoda take this work as literal truth. But to those who do not share in the visions of a NABADWIP which has its center in Mayapur, it is a funny fabrication. The Vaishnavas no doubt believed that in some dimension or alternate reality, these events were not only possible, but historically true, even if they were not necessarily so in our universe. In this sense, we can compare it to his other works like Harinam Chintamani, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote as a conversation between Haridas Thakur and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri, or Jaiva Dharma, which includes characters like Gopal Guru Goswami and Dhyana Chandra, a kind of historical fiction, as it were. There is a certain literacy license that has been taken here, and is not problematic as long as we recognize the genre. However, 3 books that the Thakur published as ancient works were almost certainly composed by him. These 3, Chaitanya Upanishad, 1887, Prema Vivarta, 1906, and Navadvip Satakam, no date, have certain common characteristics. They were all connected to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the glorification of his birthplace. The motives are fairly clear. The Thakur was trying to promote Mahaprabhu's birthplace, and he did it in a fashion time honored in India. He simply wrote the material he needed and attributed it to someone who had historical credibility, rather than attributing his work to Vyasa or Narottam Das Thakur, as did the counterfeiters of the past. He used the name of Jagadananda Pandit and Prabodhananda Sarasvati. Bhaktivinoda Thakur did in fact publish many rare manuscripts of genuine Vaishnava literature, such as Sri Krishna Vijaya, many Padyavalis, etc. He was not the only one in his time who yielded to the temptation of counterfeiting. Nevertheless, I personally find it problematic that someone who contributed so much to the Vaishnava religion, who worked so hard to instill a spirit of morality and honesty into Vaishnavism, whose life was in general a monument of commitment to service to Mahaprabhu and his disciples, who in his worldly life was a justice and so presumably knew a thing or two about ethics and the law, so fit to take such a chance. Furthermore, in view of his familiarity with the scholarly historical methods, it is hard to understand how he thought that he could get away with it. Perhaps he thought his personal probity put him above suspicion, but did he really think that a single manuscript found by chance in mysterious circumstances, only to disappear again after its publication, will not cause people to examine the published text more carefully? And if that text contains elements of language and content that not only point to a modern origin, but to the very person who claims to have found the manuscript, will our suspicions not be confirmed? So let's understand what we are reading. Actually, this book, writing by him, discovered by him, once published, the original manuscript just disappeared. So let's say I found this manuscript, okay? This is a printing version of the Visions and Voice of God of the Puracharan and Trance of Radha Charan Das Dev history. But okay, let's say that I find this in some old ancient temple ruins. So I caved the ground and I found a box with this text, and it's revealing something extremely important. Then the text, let's assume that the text is very old, ancient text, and have been destroyed by the ground, by the water, everything, but still is possible to read. So what I will do is to rewrite it. I will put it here and I will start typing in my keyboard, in my computer. I will write it all again, so the information on the text will not be lost forever.
Hey, I consider honestly very bad taste to be asking and begging, please subscribe, give like, subscribe all the time on the channel. So I will leave this message. You know what to do if you are enjoying the content. Jai Shri Radha Shyam.
But now will be preserved, this text, alright? This is the same idea that we are speaking here. But what happened? This is logic. And what I will do with this manuscript, of course, I will put it in a safe place, maybe under surveillance, or I will put it in such a way that the text will be preserved for the future. The same we see with the old manuscript of the Bible. Some Vedic texts, we see that they are isolated from the wind, dust, etc. So the text will be preserved. This is the pramana. This is the confirmation that the text exists. But what he did, actually, he took the text, he write again the text, he put his own name, and then the text disappeared. And this is the problem. Brothers and sisters, this is the very problem. Because I can tell to you, I can say to you, I found this text that I just write and print for you. I found it. It's an ancient text that is telling some truth that nobody have been thinking before is here. And you say, okay, and where is the pramana of your text? This text that I am showing you. And say, yes, ancient manuscript that I found in some cave, and now I write it again, the same text that you are reading. And you say, okay, let me see the original text, because maybe the text is wonderful, but why I have to believe that this is true? Why I have to believe you that this is true? Just because you are, I have to just believe and to not think. Of course I will ask. Any intelligent person will say, so where is the pramana? Where is the proof of your text? This text exists. Okay, wonderful. Show me the original manuscript. I want to see that everything writing here is exactly the same that is in the manuscript. But the text does not exist. Until today, the text does not exist. So of course, our Jagadananda is very right in saying it makes us suspicious on the validity of this text. Happens that the text is proving the theory of Bhaktivinoda Thakur correct. So there is no pramana, there is no origin of the text. You cannot find the text, so it's easy. I write myself something that will prove me right in 1 more year or 10 more years or 5 more years when my plan is already done. So I will show you the text. Yeah, but this text shows. And you say, where is the original manuscript? From where you get this text? Nobody knows. It disappeared. Disappear out of thin air, and disappear. So this is the problem, brothers. This is the problem. I can only say that in his enthusiasm to see Mahaprabhu's birthplace be glorified and became a center of pilgrimage, as it has indeed become, the Thakur took a chance with his personal reputation and that of his religion. He succeeded in making Mayapur a magnet for pilgrims from around the world. His disciples, grand disciples and great grand disciples have succeeded in creating an environment that is quite extraordinary. Nevertheless, one cannot help but wonder at the massive bindu that stains his otherwise sparkling white cloth. Can we not expect people to ask the question that naturally arises? How can a religion that needs lies to spread its message make any claim to be the truth? Of course cannot. Of course cannot. Because with the time, videos like this and people researching properly, people who is not blind, people who don't want to walk like this and like this, like a slave, no. People who is a little bit awake will start asking the question that normally comes. Why there is a Mahaprabhu birthplace in NABADWIP? Why we have another Mahaprabhu birthplace in Mayapur? What? He was born in 2 places at the same time? No. Are all those people there in NABADWIP, all of them wrong? They exist 400 years before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Are all of them wrong? This is ridiculous. Any intelligent person will think, no, that is not possible. They must have some ideas where Mahaprabhu was born. That's why they are not coming here to Mayapur. Then they don't even cross to this line to Mayapur. So what they know that maybe we don't know. And it's exactly what we are speaking here. So this video is not to put anybody down. It's to put the truth up where it should be. The sun is up there and the light will illuminate everything. There is no shadow under the sun, right? It does not give me pleasure to remind us who are accustomed to thinking negatively of Bipin Bihari Goswami as someone who was rejected for his caste consciousness and bad habits like tobacco smoking, that he publicly renounced Bhaktivinoda Thakur as his disciple shortly before dying in 1919.
I have a strong opinion regarding the book NABADWIP erroneously by Devdas Adhikari, wherein he repeatedly refers to NABADWIP Mayapur as the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya. However, Mayapur is not the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya. His birthplace was ancient NABADWIP, that particular part, which is now submerged under the Ganges. Mayapur was previously known as Mayapur, which was a graveyard for Muslims. When Kedarnath Dutta claimed this area as Sri Chaitanya's birthplace, my grandfather Vipin Bihari Goswami, who was the Diksha Guru of Kedarnath Dutta, ousted him as his disciple. Kedarnath Dutta's title Bhaktivinoda was also given by us, the Goswamis of Vagnapura. Due to the difference of opinion regarding Mayapur, Guru Vipin Bihari Goswami Bhaktiratna broke all relationships with his disciple Kedarnath Dutta. Canon Bihari Goswami, descendant of Vipin Bihari, Kolkata, 50 Vardman, March 25, 1999.
The reason he gave for his drastic act was precisely for preaching falsehood connected to the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is easy to condemn Vipin Bihari Prabhu for having some self-interest in this matter, but the doubts that have been brought up in this article tend to give justification to the Goswami. I find it rather painful to bring the matter up, and I do so in the full expectation of being heartily condemned. But I would like to see those who love the holy name and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu face this problem head on, much in the way that the Roman Catholics have decided to accept the terrible things in their history, things which are many times worse than those we have mentioned here, and still find a way to justify their faith. Faith has to be honest and to be genuine, and such honesty has to extend to our forefathers, even those to whom we have attributed the highest spiritual perfection. It is such shock to accept that our divinities might have had human failings, but I think this is a necessary step in facing our own failings. Human psychology is such that we often compensate for our own human frailties by placing faith in someone else. We say, I am not perfect, but my guru is. I have no personal qualification. This does not matter because the parampara, yes, is perfect. This is a psychological trick and results in ego inflation. By identifying with the guru and the parampara, we appropriate their perfection and their authority for ourselves. The messenger syndrome, you know which one is it? I am just the messenger. I am just delivering the message. Not right. Unfortunately, this expands into the kind of distorted personality psychology that is not only historically present in ISKCON, but in many of the interactions between devotees who are otherwise sincere. And this kind of distorted reality is not only in ISKCON or Gaudiya Math. This distorted reality is everywhere. When we don't want to accept the truth, then our mind must be distorted, deformed, in order to accept something as true that is not true. It's the very reason that led me to left my first guru and to left my second guru and parivar, exactly for the same reason. We must to see the reality and to not close the eyes to the truth, because if we close the eyes to the truth, we are closing the eyes directed to Krishna. Krishna is truth. If we don't want to see the things as the things are, then we are accepting Maya as the Brahmana and the ruler of our mind and life. Are you accepting Maya, illusion, as your spiritual path, guru, and philosophy, or are you accepting the truth? The truth is strong. The truth can break us. The truth can make us cry, as Arjuna Mahavira, the big hero, cried in front of Krishna. At the lotus feet of Krishna, Arjuna has no power, suffering because of the truth. But what Arjuna did, the correct thing. And what Krishna said, the correct thing. Face the truth, stand with the truth, does not matter who is in the other side. Mahavira Radha Ramana ki jai, jai Nitai jai go, jai jai Shri Radhe Shyam.